I'm gonna do it again because I got to break Kevin's new record. I got to get back on the stage because this new record that Kevin got, I got to have it back, Kevin. You ain't keeping this record, whatever one it is. I got to have it back, baby.
15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here.
You can't ignore that Kevin Hart is one of the biggest comedians around these days. But lately his name's been popping up everywhere, and not for the best reasons. It seems like everyone's taking shots at him, especially his fellow black comedians. You know how comedy can be, right? It can lift you up one moment and bring you crashing down the next, just with words. So it's no surprise that Kevin might be feeling a bit uneasy. But why would someone as successful as Kevin be worried about other comedians? Enter Eddie Murphy. The man, the myth, the legend. He's apparently gearing up to spill some serious tea. Rumor has it, there's some juicy stuff hidden in Kevin's closet, and we got a sneak peek of it when Katt Williams decided to spill some earlier this year. Kevin tried to clap back, but you could tell he was rattled. Now with Eddie and his crew supposedly preparing to drop even more bombshells, it looks like Kevin might be in for a bumpy ride. It seems like he's not out of the woods just yet. So let's dig deeper into this intriguing story. As we all know, Eddie Murphy is that cool uncle at a family reunion, always laid back and drama-free. So when he steps into the ring to call out Kevin Hart, you know it's getting serious. These guys have a mutual respect, having even teamed up on projects like Meet Dave. But even that history isn't stopping Eddie from shining a light on Kevin's questionable actions. So what's the deal with the supposed shade? Well, there have been whispers in the wind about how Kevin climbed his way to the top by cozying up to the big shots in the industry, maybe even stepping on a few toes along the way. And then there are these murmurings about some seriously shady stuff he might have been involved in. Eddie, being a veteran in the game since the 90s, knows the ins and outs of the industry better than most. So if anyone would have the inside scoop on Kevin's supposed shenanigans, it would be him. For starters, let's not forget what Katt Williams had to say on the Club Shay Shay podcast. Katt didn't mince words, straight up calling Kevin an industry plant. He pointed out how quickly Kevin rose to fame, scoring a sitcom and starring in Soul Plane all within his first year in LA. According to Katt, this situation raises eyebrows and makes Kevin's early history seem a bit like a mystery. Katt pointed out that Kevin already had his deals lined up when he arrived in LA.
He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
For those not up to speed on the ongoing feud between Katt Williams and Kevin Hart, it all started back in 2008 with the film Fool's Gold. Williams was initially set to take the lead role, but his legal issues at the time forced him to pass on the opportunity, which involved filming in Australia. Enter Kevin Hart, who stepped in and landed the role instead. According to the grapevine, this is where the sparks of tension between Williams and Hart first ignited. He feels it's particularly unfair for comedians who have been in the industry for a long time and have real talent to miss out on opportunities, while someone like Kevin, who is relatively new, managed to cozy up to the bigwigs and get ahead. But Katt is aware that speaking out might not be without consequences. He knows some people might just see him as another bitter, jealous comedian. When asked if he's worried about any backlash, Williams responded,
"Are you not afraid about being blackballed again? These are some power people."
What do you mean again? These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
The whole Kevin Hart is an industry plant theory goes back to a Hollywood rumor that's been circulating for quite a while. There's this talk that entertainers are kind of blackmailed into wearing a dress on screen, almost like a rite of passage, before they can level up in the fame game. And it's not just Katt Williams who's been talking about this. Even Dave Chappelle touched on it in 2006. During his appearance on Oprah, Dave spilled the tea about why he turned down a whopping $50 million deal from Comedy Central. He wasn't just in it for the money, because as he explained, big bucks often come with some serious strings attached. Dave, having been in the showbiz game since he was 14, had seen and heard stories about what happens behind the scenes. He pointed out examples like Mariah Carey landing a $100 million deal, only to end up mysteriously labeled as crazy a few months later. Or Martin Lawrence making it big, then suddenly waving a gun on the street screaming about someone trying to kill him. It's those stories that had Dave cautious. When Oprah asked him about hearing these stories, Dave laid it out. He'd seen it happen before, and it always went down when a person's career was on the brink of reaching the next level. According to Dave, he was pressured to create sketches that made people laugh at him, not with him. It felt like they were asking him to put himself on blast for a paycheck. And wait, there's more to this saga. Dave Chappelle even recalled being asked to wear a dress for a movie he did with Martin Lawrence. He walks into the trailer and sees a dress, thinking it's the wrong one. Turns out, it's for a scene where Martin's character sneaks out of jail by dressing Chappelle. Chappelle's like, "No way, I'm not doing that. It wasn't in the discussion." They try to pressure him, saying it's a hilarious bit, but he stands his ground, saying he doesn't need a dress to be funny. The whole thing gets intense, with writers, directors, and producers pushing, but Chappelle sticks to his guns. In the end, they come up with a new scene without the dress, and he's left wondering.
Give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then like the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress.
Dave just didn't vibe with it, not because wearing a dress is an issue on its own, but because he felt the industry was trying to corner black artists into doing whatever it took for success. They kept hounding him until they figured out that he wouldn't budge. Dave revealed this whole experience was an eye-opener. It took being told to wear a dress for him to connect the dots and realize this wasn't just his struggle. Lots of other black men had been asked to do the same. Martin Lawrence rocked it in Big Mama's House. Eddie Murphy pulled it off in the Nutty Professor series. And Jamie Foxx left a mark with his unforgettable Ugly Wanda on In Living Color. Then you've got the Wayans brothers trying their hand with it with White Chicks. Oh, and we can't forget the less successful Juwanna Mann. In the mix of all of this, Tyler Perry takes the cake with his Madea franchise. During this time, an up-and-coming Kevin would join the conversation, dropping wisdom talks left and right. Kevin was all about artists protecting their brand, setting boundaries, and not crossing certain lines. At that point, he was vibing with his personal beliefs. No dress drama in sight. When the topic of wearing a dress for a role came up, Kevin was straight up like,
definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. You know, for me, I know what they are. They've yet to been challenged.
But here's where it gets interesting. Just a year later, boom, Kevin's on an SNL skit rocking a dress. His 9-year-old Oscar-nominated co-star fans were not having it. Accusations of selling out and being fake started flying around. It was like, hold up, wasn't you just preaching about boundaries and protecting your brand, Kevin? A plot twist got fans feeling some type of way, and they called him out for doing the exact thing he said artists shouldn't do. But then, Kevin Hart pulled a complete 180 on us, flipping the script from his earlier stance on wearing dresses. He initially said, "No way, I'm not putting on a dress." Fast forward to when an opportunity knocked and he found the whole idea funny. Suddenly he was like, "Why not? I'm doing it."
Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him.
Definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross.
Wow. I don't think anyone saw this one coming.
But here's where it gets tricky. Kevin, in defense mode, starts saying nobody forced Martin Lawrence into Big Mama's House, or Tyler Perry into Madea, or Jamie Foxx into Wanda's dress. It was a choice, according to Kevin. Well, obviously, he's throwing us the "it's all about choice" line. But there's another side to this story that's floating around. People are saying it's not just about choice. Kevin himself wasn't cool with the idea before the money talk started. When the cash starts flowing, suddenly integrity takes a backseat. It's like money has this magical power that makes people do things they swore they'd never do. And let's be real, when that paycheck is in sight, folks tend to show their true colors. Now let's rewind a bit to when Steve Harvey dropped that bomb about integrity. He didn't mince words when he said, "Give me $10 million and I'll embarrass myself all the way to the bank." Yep, you heard that right. He was ready to toss his integrity out the window for a fat stack of cash. Now let's fast forward to Kevin Hart after he took the plunge into dress territory. Suddenly, his career blasts off like a rocket headed for the comedy stratosphere. He's breaking records, becoming the highest-paid comedian ever, and cash is flowing faster than a waterfall after a storm. It's like that dress was his golden ticket to the big leagues. Sure, there are folks out there debating the sacrifice of integrity, but in the end, Kevin's the one laughing all the way to the bank. And then there's Monique, dropping bombs about how Kevin supposedly left her hanging when she was going through some serious rough times. Facing the heat from big names like Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, it's enough to make your eyebrows shoot right up to the ceiling. But wait, there's more intrigue to unpack here. Back in 2021, Kevin Hart had the legendary Monique in his comedy Gold Mines podcast. And let me tell you, things got spicy. They delved deep into Monique's life, her rise in the comedy scene, and where she stands today in her career. Now, if you're not familiar with it, Monique has had some long-standing beef with Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry. During their conversation, Monique poured her heart out about the struggles her family faced, describing it as being up against a wall. And that's when Kevin Hart, being the stand-up guy he is, stepped in to offer his support. He told Monique that she's like family to him, a mother, an aunt, a sister, all rolled into one. But Hart didn't stop at comforting words. Oh no, he took action. Now Hart admitted he didn't really know Oprah Winfrey personally, but he promised Monique that he'd reach out to Tyler Perry. And guess what? He did just that. After a heartfelt conversation with Perry, Hart came back to Monique with some promising news. Perry was ready to bury the hatchet and move past the drama. Hart, being the voice of reason, urged Monique to do the same. He said, "Let's leave all the negativity in the rearview mirror, Mo. We've got bigger things to accomplish together." But hold on to your hats, because Hart's generosity didn't stop there. According to Monique, in a conversation with Shannon Sharp, Hart not only offered emotional support, but also extended a professional hand. He proposed to partner with her and even offer to executive produce any project she wanted to bring to life. But here's where it gets juicy. After Hart promised to help her get her talk show back on track, naturally Monique was over the moon. Having Kevin Hart as a producer could skyrocket any project. So she excitedly tells her producers and her media production company, and they're all on board, thrilled at the prospect of working with such a big star. But plot twist. 2 weeks later, Monique gets hit with some devastating news. Her team drops the bombshell that Kevin Hart's manager, Dave Becky, gave them a ring to say that Kevin had cold feet. Monique picks up the phone, hoping for an explanation from Hart himself, and what does she get? A vague reassurance. "We'll talk Tuesday, don't worry about it," he says. "I'm telling you right now, it's a miscommunication, and we're going to talk Tuesday, don't worry about it. I'm telling you right now, it's a miscommunication." But fast forward 2 years and crickets. Monique hasn't heard a peep from Kevin since.
Endemol says, "We just got a call from Kevin Hart's manager, Dave Becky, and Dave Becky said Kevin doesn't want anything to do with Monique. So whatever she told y'all, he doesn't want to do anything with her, nothing. You know, he doesn't want any kind of relationship with Monique."
But wait, here come the armchair detectives. Some fans are crying foul, suggesting that maybe Kevin never intended to help Monique in the first place. They're pointing to his sketchy track record, like the time he claimed he didn't really know Oprah Winfrey. I mean, come on, who could forget the whole Oprah sending him flowers after his accident in 2019? In a chat with Ellen, they got into it, with Ellen explaining how she reached out to Kevin after hearing about his accident and back surgery. Kevin shared that he had received plenty of flowers from well-wishers, but it was Oprah's floral gift that stood out. According to Kevin, Oprah's flowers were like a never-ending story. They were still thriving, turning his place into a botanical paradise. It had become a joke in his house, with everyone wondering when Oprah's flowers would finally call it quits. Kevin even joked about someone secretly watering them because despite neglect, they just won't die. The flowers were so significant that they'd taken over the dining table, leaving the Harts eating on the floor rather than disturb Oprah's cherished plant. And now he's claiming he doesn't really know her. Seems fishy, right? And then there's the wild rumor mill spinning tales about Kevin selling his soul to the likes of Oprah and Tyler Perry. Supposedly, if he had lifted a finger to help Monique revive her career, it would have put his own career in jeopardy. But enough talk about Kevin's questionable behavior and the dress saga, because there's something even juicier on the horizon. Let's talk about Diddy, who's currently facing some legal troubles. And guess who has a surprising connection to Diddy's past? You got it, Kevin Hart himself. There's this intriguing video circulating where Diddy accidentally spills the beans about him and Usher being former roommates. And guess who was right there to capture this revealing moment? None other than Kevin Hart, the king of comedy.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, check this out. I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older.
In this candid video clip, Diddy fondly recalls their shared living arrangements, reminiscing about the playful arguments they had over who got the top bunk when Usher was just a young lad of around 10 years old. It's a bombshell revelation that's sure to leave everyone talking. It's evident that Kevin Hart is no stranger to the glitz and glamour of celebrity gatherings, having been a regular presence in such elite circles for quite some time. Given the abundance of available footage and the recent federal raid on his residence, it's only a matter of time before all of Diddy's secrets are laid bare for the world to see. Fans are eagerly anticipating every twist and turn of Diddy's downfall, as well as the involvement of those who supported him. Kevin Hart finds himself among those individuals who are undoubtedly anxious about Diddy's potential downfall, realizing that if Diddy goes down, he won't be the only one affected. And if that wasn't enough drama for you, let's shift gears to Kevin Hart's personal life. Rumors started swirling that he had been unfaithful to his ex-wife, Tori Hart, with his current wife, Aniko Hart. Their marriage hit the rocks back in 2011 after 8 years when Tori caught Kevin red-handed in the act of cheating with multiple women. But here's where it gets even messier. Tori wasn't just Kevin's wife, she was also putting in work behind the scenes, writing jokes for Kevin's movies and stand-up shows. But Kevin allegedly never gave her credit for her comedic genius. And to add insult to injury, he reportedly spent the money he made from those jokes on his mistresses. Even after Kevin cheated on Tori, he had the audacity to crack jokes about it during his stand-up shows. Imagine being the person who stood by him when he had nothing, only to get clowned on stage. It's a betrayal of epic proportions. But the drama doesn't end there. Tori's now hitting the road on tour with none other than Katt Williams. And if you know anything about Kevin and Katt, you know they basically can't stand each other. So the fact that Tori, Kevin's ex-wife, is hitching her wagon to Katt Williams for a tour, that's got people raising their eyebrows and wondering what's the deal. Kevin tried to play it cool when asked about Tori hitting the road with Katt, delivering a mature response.
Your ex-wife is going on tour with Katt.
I want everybody to win. I hope the tour is great.
I love that. So you are supportive of her. Thank you, Mr. Hart. I appreciate you.
But you could practically see the annoyance radiating off of him. It's clear that these rumors have tainted people's perceptions of Kevin, despite his attempts to brush them off. Now Eddie Murphy is stirring the pot by suggesting that Kevin Hart is feeling threatened by Katt's upcoming comedy tour because he knows he's bound to get exposed for all his shady dealings with Diddy. What do you make about all this drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while we eagerly await more updates, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for more content like this.